Hey everybody, it's Glenn back in this video as I've only gone and hit 50,000 blooming subscribers, haven't I? Go me. But really, it's go you guys, as without all of you watching, liking and commenting on my videos, I probably wouldn't even be making them. So for that, I thank all 50,000 of you. And if you're watching this and are yet to subscribe, hit the subscribe button and join a 50,000 strong community of like-minded individuals into collecting action figures. So as promised, when I hit 50,000 subs, I'd be doing a Q&A and giving away a Deadpool or Mankind action figure to one lucky viewer, and I'm here to do just that. So within 24 hours of my video calling for questions going up, I'd received over 1,000, which is why you may have noticed I deleted it, because I was inundated with questions and I want to make sure I answer as many of them as possible, which does mean if this video runs long, I may split this into two parts, in which case I'll be doing the action figure giveaway at the end of the second part. But I'm sure you want me to answer as many of your questions as possible, so let's get on with it. I have my laptop right here with all the questions on it, and let's kick this off with the nitty-gritty and some personal questions. Alex McCoo, Jack Reeve and Optimus Prime 809 ask, where are you living? I'm currently living just outside Edinburgh in Scotland, and I'm from London, England originally. Penny86 says, I remember you saying in an older video that you moved back to the UK. Where did you move from and what brought you home? Well, I studied my Master of Fine Arts in the US at New York State University in total, including applying for a work experience permit. After I graduated, I was in the US for a total of 6 years, and when that permit expired, I moved back home and stayed with my parents because I was broke. Iram Lara says, would you move to the United States? If so, where would you move? As I just said, I have previously moved to the US. I lived in Buffalo and then Long Island, and then the remaining time I lived in Queens in New York. And if I was to move back there, I'd probably move to New York. But then that's really the only part of the US I've experienced. I have gone on vacations to Florida and San Francisco, which were awesome. Ralph Lerma says, will you ever make it across the pond to check out a Comic-Con here in the US? I would love, of course, to go to San Diego Comic-Con. Who wouldn't? It's the biggest con in the world, and that's on my bucket list. Matica Mouse asks, what were some of the toys you played with as a kid? Well, being the age I am, I'm a kid of the 80s, so those would have been the original Star Wars action figures and also He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Those were the big two, and my parents fully indulged me in both of those. While I was at school, my mother would go shopping. She'd carry around a Star Wars action figure card back in her purse. She'd be marking off each action figure as she bought it. She'd pick me up from school and surprise me with an action figure. Those were the days. James Luca Shanak asks, who was the first ever superhero you ever heard about? Oh, that's going to be watching the cartoon Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, which of course paired Spider-Man with Iceman and Firestar. A lot of people ask me what was my very first action figure, and I'm afraid I can't remember. But Super Fat Boy 2002 asks, what was your first Marvel figure? That I do remember. It was 1984's Secret Wars Dr. Octopus, who bizarrely had six-pack abs. Possum Cats ask, what was your favourite toy as a kid? That's gotta be the Jabba the Hutt playset from Return of the Jedi. If you were a kid back then, you'll know the one I mean. It's the one with the base where you open it up and you can stuff your action figures inside it as if you're feeding them to the Rancor monster. Tanish Brown asks, what time is it? Stop! Hammer time! William Rivera asks, are you rich? And then Sylvester Juans asked, how do you have that much money? You know, I think you guys see me buying a lot of action figures and think I must be loaded with cash like Uncle Scrooge McDuck, diving into big piles of loot. But you have to think of the flip reverse of that, is that I buy so many action figures that I'm actually pretty poor. Adam Humphrey asks, hey Glenn, if you had $5,000, what would you do with it? I'd probably buy a savings bond, which, as I say that, I'm realizing is painfully dull, so I'm going to pretend I'd spend it all on hookers and blow. Red Phosphorus asks, if you won the lottery, what would you do? Oh, I would set up my own toy company. Aidan Walters asks, if you went to prison and were allowed to take 5 customs, what would they be? Oh gosh, Aidan, I hope I never go to prison, and if I did, I probably won't be taking custom action figures with me. Can you imagine? I walk into a jail cell, some hardened crook stood there, I've got an armful of action figures. I'd be that guy's bitch in a heartbeat. The Lolly Factor YT asks, Glenn, where would you want to be on holiday most? Probably Australia. I'd love to go there. I just can't be on a plane for that long. So hurry up, scientists, invent teleportation so I can go down under. Nicholas Uchi asks, what's your plan for the inevitable zombie apocalypse? I don't know. I get used to eating brain, I guess? Fan Hero Channel, Sue1 Kim, Super Odd Bro Society, Joshua Ramsey, Alex Hernandez, and Miko Jed Salubre. I apologise in advance if I butcher any of your usernames, I am trying my best. All of those ask, when did you start making YouTube videos, or what inspired you to make YouTube videos? Then Aquil Hussan adds, I'm a fan, dude, keep it up, I sure will. My question is, what or who inspired you to become a YouTuber? Well, YouTubing started for me back in November of 2009. So I've been doing this about 5.5 years now. And what I wanted to do was share my custom action figures with the world. Then once I got a few custom action figures on there, I realized there was a community of people talking about action figures, reviewing them. And I thought, hey, I have some opinions to offer on that subject. And that's how I got into reviewing. Jeremy Molina asked, what was the first toy that you ever reviewed? Pretty sure that was the Pre-Legends X-Men Onslaught series. You can go check out my old videos just to see how far I've come. But then again, don't go and check out my old videos as they're terrible. Watching my old videos, it's like looking at your old high school yearbook photos. It's just incredibly embarrassing. In my old videos, I was still living at my parents', so I used to wait until they'd gone to bed at night, and then I'd creep downstairs and quietly make videos, so I'm terribly hushed, talking like this, as if I'm narrating a nature documentary and I don't want to disturb the wild animals. But really, I'm sat in my parents' living room with action figures surrounding me. I know it's a bit of a stereotype, your comic toy nerd living in their parents' basement. I at least buck the trend. I lived in their attic. But hey, I'm free now, got a place of my own. Going up in the world. Alex Franco asks, what did you think will happen when you started these videos? Honestly, when I started these videos, I had zero expectations. I know some people sign up to YouTube guns a-blazing, wanting to be a big fish. Me, I just wanted to share my custom action figures with the world, and then when people started commenting upon them, I was actually shocked, like, oh, they're talking to me about my action figures, that's cool. And then the whole thing snowballed and it became addictive. JCDO Animation by Jalen asks, hi, I'm just asking, how does it feel to be popular? Oh, I guess I am, right? I've never really thought about it like that. I'm not someone who's ever been popular, so it feels different. Pratik Paramesh asks, just curious as to why you haven't been partnered with those toy websites. You've got almost 50k subscribers. Seems crazy that you don't get that extra dough. Well, by toy websites, I assume you mean the likes of Big Bad Toy Store, who you may see plastered over the videos of other YouTubers. Well, by extra dough, you would be really surprised by how little money they offer you. And if I'm going to promote somebody on my every video, I'm essentially selling my soul, and I need way more than the money they offer to do that. An Average Comic Geek asks, what was your favourite action figure evolution you ever did? You know what? Action figure evolutions aren't always that fun to make. I know you guys like to imagine me living in an action figure museum surrounded by every action figure ever made. I don't. And when I do something like an action figure evolution, and it's why they take so long, I have to track down a bunch of action figures to plug up the hole in my collection, and do that in a way where I can also pay rent and feed myself at the same time. Top of this year, the Wolverine action figure evolution was a huge undertaking that I did, and now that I've done it and it's up there and people are watching it and commenting and liking it, I'm really proud of that one. John McCauley asked, when is there going to be a Spider-Man action figure? Evolution. I get asked that a lot. Spider-Man's probably the most requested, and then Iron Man. Right now I've been squirreling away Beast action figures, Jean Grey action figures, Iceman action figures, and Angel action figures. So expect a lot of separate X-Men Evolution character videos coming. Hey, if Marvel aren't going to support the X-Men, then I will, in the form of X-Men action figure evolutions. But as for Spider-Man, that's such a huge undertaking. There are probably more Spider-Man action figures than any character ever. And the trouble is with action figure evolutions, people kind of like to get smart in the comments and be like, wow, you haven't included that one, you haven't included this one. But with Spider-Man, I think I would have to pick key action figures. What are the key action figures within Spider-Man's evolution? But that's a long-term project. It could take years, essentially. I probably have about 10 Spider-Man action figures in my collection, whereas there are about 10,000 in the history of the action figure market been released. Send me Spider-Man action figures, and that would speed the process along. Pink Spaghetti also asks, any chance of customizing live to return? You can tell by the pained expression on my face, probably not. You know, customizing is a very long process. It can also be problematic and stressful in itself. When you throw in filming it into the mix, it only raises the levels of problems and stress. And then I end up with hours of footage that I have to add to my laptop, eating up all its memory, meaning I can't even check Facebook or send an email anymore and have to spend the next 2 days editing that down into something that I think is worthwhile for you guys to watch. And I'd be willing to do all of that if it got a level of viewership that I felt justified me enduring all of that, but it hasn't. The last one I did got 8,000 views, which is pretty good. At the end of that video, I was honest about not enjoying doing this, but I'd be willing to do it if you guys shared it and brought a wider audience to the project. Out of the 8,000 people that watched it, 8 people shared that video. So there's a lesson there, not just about me as a YouTube creator, but about all YouTube creators. They're supplying you with content for free. If you enjoy what they do, it's really important that you like and share their videos. If you don't, then it's you to blame when that content goes away. Sounds harsh, I know, but that's the way it is. Four Worlds Collided asks, are you ever going to bring back 2-Minute Toy Rewind? I might do that, simply because I've acquired some action figures since I cancelled 2-Minute Toy Rewind that would fit the format perfectly. So yes, it might be back. It won't be back as a weekly fixture here on my channel, but I think it's going to be back in some form. Just be sure to hit that like button when you see it. Dmitry Abazhanov asks, what are you going to do when you hit 100,000 subs? Whoa, Dmitry, back off. Give me a second to breathe. I've only just blooming hit 50,000 subs. Seriously though, I have no idea. It's going to have to be something pretty special, I guess. Suggestions in the comments below. Ryan N asked, do you have any jobs besides YouTube? If not, what was your last job? Well, Ryan, right now YouTubing is my main job, which is why I'm barely able to pay my rent every month. And my last job, I worked at Buckingham Palace. I worked for the Royal Collection. I enabled members of the public to see Her Majesty the Queen's collection of artworks and antiques. And no, she has no action figures in her collection, if you're wondering. Daniel Wishart says, what's the backstory to the by outro? Esteban Rodriguez says, where did you get by from? You say it and it's so distinctive, you and only you do it. It's like your specific thing. I guess it is. It's just one of those character tics that I have. If my mum or a friend called me now, at the end of the conversation we had on the phone, I'd end it with bye. It's just what I do. So many questions, so little time. You know what? I hate to do this, but I'm going to cut this video here and spill over into a part 2. I know you're all eager to find out who wins the Deadpool or Mankind, but at the same time, I'm sure as many of you want me to answer as many of your questions as I can. So I'm going to do that in part 2. I'll see you there. Bye.